What is going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be telling you guys some reasons why you guys should be picking Enigma in your pubs. And honestly, one of the stronger heroes this patch. Even though he was nerfed in the last patch, the hero is still really strong, especially as an offlaner, also as a position 4. But there's a big difference between offlane Enigma and support Enigma, just because you're able to have so much freedom when you're in the offlane, and a lot of times support Enigma can feel kind of weak, especially if they have a lot of wave clear and they're able to just farm your eidolons. That can become a really big issue. But if they don't have any real good way of dealing with your eidolons, it can be a really big problem for the enemy heroes. You can easily trade with supports and overall very nice, but if they have a lot of catch, they have a lot of spirits or heroes that can just easily get on top of you, maybe a Nyx assassin, these types of heroes can do very well against you, and you still are a very fragile hero on Enigma. Your universal, make sure you guys are building stats. You guys could also build some bracers in the lane if need be, but basically the best way to be playing Enigma right now in terms of item build is going for instant vlads. You guys just rush vlads. It's going to help your eidolons do a lot more damage, and it's going to help you sustain in the lane. That's one of the most important things. You can get vlads quite fast, actually. You can get it between 5-6 minutes. It's going to be very good for you. Good auras for your team as well. You can never go wrong with vlads. And then you go back for your boots, blink dagger, BKB, Aghanim Scepter, refresher, and pretty much the regular standard combo that you guys are going to be playing around Black Hole. But I've also tried builds like Crimson Guard, which work very nicely. It makes everything so much tankier. It makes you so much tankier. And if you go like a double bracer into Crimson Guard type build along with your vlads and you're just going for pure auras, it is a very strong build. You're not playing around Black Hole at that point. You're pretty much playing around pushing towers and playing along with your eidolons, and that could sometimes be the best way to play the Enigma, because sometimes there's just a lot of BKB piercing stuns or just way too much crowd control, and that can become a little bit of an issue for you to be getting those high value black holes. Sometimes the threat of black hole is more important than the black hole itself, and that's something you guys need to keep in mind as Enigma players, that it's not always about the 5-man black hole. Sometimes a 1-man black hole can win you a team fight just if you land it on the right target. So target priority is very important. And then you also have Malefice, which is a pretty decent stun. It's very annoying, does some pretty decent damage. Midnight Pulse is always going to be a good skill. If you're able to actually get your Midnight Pulse in your black hole, that's obviously going to do a lot more damage, and it is pretty decent. Now let's talk about the facet you guys are most likely going to be picking. You're most likely going to be picking Splitting Image, which basically every time Enigma takes 350 damage, you spawn an eidolon, which is really good. You're going to be playing with this build. You're going to be playing all around the eidolons. Then you're going to be able to push towers a lot better. You're going to be able to do a lot more. And since you're going to be sustaining with vlads, it's not going to be an issue for you to be taking those high amounts of damage, and you're going to have those eidolons constantly spawning. It's pretty much one of the better ones. The other facet Enigma has is mostly to give a movement speed penalty, which is decent. It's not terrible, but I just don't think it's that great. So this one is just a better one because you're going to be playing with the eidolons. And his innate ability is actually kind of decent. It's called Gravity Well, and basically it goes up to 15% damage reduction for your allies in a 500 AoE, but it reaches maximum, so 15% in a 200 AoE, and it does not affect Enigma. So that is really good for your allies if they're really close to you. It is pretty decent damage reduction, and like I said, if you guys go for an item like Crimson Guard, that is a lot of damage mitigation along with Vlads, maybe a Greaves. Like, damage mitigation is always going to be strong. Maybe an Assault Cuirass in the late game. Like, there's a lot of things you can do on this hero, and it's very underrated. It has a really solid win rate for a reason of 50%, and if you play it properly, you can get just an absolute fuck ton of impact from this hero. Now let's break down some of the best and worst matchups for Enigma. So some of the good matchups you're good up against are Lifestealer, Lycan, Meepo, Lone Druid. You're good up against these types of heroes that Black Hole does really do a lot, but you're able to trade really well against these heroes with your eidolons, and if you have your vlads, you're going to be sustaining in the lane way better against these heroes. And there's not a whole lot these heroes can actually do to you. Maybe in the mid to late game they could do something, but other than that, there's not a whole lot they can do in the laning phase. You can kind of push them out of lane kind of easily. Just max your eidolons and your Malefice and just spam harass them, and they're going to be pushed out of lane quite easily. Some of the bad matchups are Spectre, Medusa, Rubik, Bristleback. So these are just very tanky heroes. They don't really care a whole lot about your eidolons. Bristleback, the more you hit him, the more quills he's going to spam, and the more your eidolons are just going to die. So you're going to be feeding a lot of experience and gold. So definitely keep that in mind when you're playing against these matchups. Rubik, obviously, for stealing your black hole, can easily counterplay you. He could also take your eidolons. Basically, Rubik does whatever you do, but better if he takes your best spells. Try not to play Enigma against Rubik. It's definitely not unplayable, but it just makes your life a lot harder. You have to be very careful on how you cast black hole and make sure that the Rubik doesn't steal it, because your team can definitely get crushed from the Rubik. And heroes like Medusa and Spectre are just so tanky. They just don't give a crap on the damage damage you're doing. Unless you just get a Midnight Pulse Black Hole and you have some backup, then yeah, you can take care of them. But other than that, Split Shot on Medusa can just take care of all your eidolons. Again, you're playing with your eidolons. It's what makes you strong. Even though they were nerfed, they're still really strong eidolons. They're going to help you do so much around the map, and you have a lot of kill threat against a lot of squishy low armor heroes. So try and prioritize going for these supports with your eidolons and keep the eidolons on them. It's not only going to give you vision, it's also going to help them not be able to contest as much because the eidolons do quite a bit of damage. And if you have any minus armor reduction heroes like Slardar, they can actually help you a lot because you're already getting quite a bit of damage with the eidolons itself, but you're going to be doing even more just because of that minus armor mitigation. But I definitely want to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about Enigma? I see a lot of players just thinking that Enigma is just all about the black hole. It can be, it definitely can be. I've seen a lot of black hole plays where they just turn the game instantly, but most of the time you're going to be doing a lot better off building auras for your team. Obviously have the blink dagger so you can have the threat of black hole, but most of the time those auras are what's going to help your team out. And you can also do that from the support line. Support Enigma does take a little bit longer to do its purpose, but it can easily be played, and you're going to be playing with those eidolons. You can help your team push towers nice and easy, and by building those auras you're already contributing to your team. So even if you're not landing the best black holes, because some games are very difficult to land very good black holes, they might have blink canceling slows, like heroes like Venomancer can make your blink very annoying, very tedious. So you need to always keep in mind that it's not always about the black hole, and a well landed Midnight Pulse with your eidolons hitting the heroes, it is a lot of damage. And you're also helping your team sustain with that innate ability, which gives you that damage reduction. When you're buying Vlads, you're giving your team that extra lifesteal, so you're basically helping your team out all the way. You can also build a Solar Crest on support Enigma. It's really nice to buff up your cores. It's also very nice to make you a little bit more tanky, and sometimes if you do need on support Enigma to be a little bit more tankier, buy the 2 bracers at 25 minutes. It's going to make you tanky, and since you're a universal hero, you benefit from items like this. So buying a couple of bracers at 25 minutes does feel really good on the Enigma. You're going to be a lot more tankier, and if it's just armor you need, then buy 2 Wraith Bands. It's going to feel quite nice. But I would like to know if you guys play Enigma, and if you guys do, what position do you guys like to play Enigma? And I used to play a lot of mid Enigma. That was definitely very fun. I don't think mid Enigma is viable right now. I don't think it's terrible, but you have to be playing into pretty much a free lane, otherwise they're just gonna steamroll you. But you can also take the tower quite quickly, kind of like a lone druid where you just take the tower quite quickly and make rotations. It can still work, but you have to be an Enigma specialist to actually be playing the mid Enigma, because it can easily go south for you and you can just throw away the game. It doesn't feel great. But I've been enjoying my time playing offlane Enigma, and when I need some role queue games, I will still play the support Enigma if it is a decent game, because if they have a lot of wave clear and I'm not able to get full value out of my eidolons, it's just not going to be a great support Enigma game. Practically going to be useless unless I get a black hole. Other than that, I'm not going to be much use. So try and pick the Enigma into really good matchups where they don't have the ability to take care of your eidolons, and then you're going to have a much better time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and learned something. If you guys did, leave a comment down below and consider subscribing and joining the Dota Chronicles community. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.